It is just so embarrassing that when people think real estate, this is what they think of. Like we're all a bunch of goobers standing in an open house baking cookies. And what's worse is that reality TV shows give us this fake romanticized version of real estate where nothing bad ever happens and it's total bullshit. Real estate is actually cool and fun and completely crazy.
Chip, I'm mostly okay. Did you?
Real estate is constantly changing, Murphy's Law is always in play, and you have to wake up every single day prepared for anything. That's real estate, forever and always. But before I keep ranting, let me just rewind. That's me, Larry Gibbons. Some people would say I'm a problem solver, an entrepreneur, a deal saver. I would just say that I'm a guy that loves real estate, who happens to lead our family-operated real estate business, the Gibbons Group, for over 10 years. I'm the money guy. I look over our finances and I make sure that we don't lose everything. And that's my brother Drew. We've been inseparable ever since we were kids, but we somehow ended up completely the opposite in almost every way. His strength? Not math. But this guy can fix and build almost anything. So it's a no-brainer that he heads up our property management and oversees all of our construction projects. It's December 2019, and we have high hopes on 2020 being a huge year for us. We have multiple construction projects. My wife and I are about to buy a new house, and the Gibbons Group is going to go from a small business to a mid-sized company.
Do not put me in that stupid video.
Things are looking up, but it all hinges on selling this house. 1325 Allison Street.
Audio is on. So the sale of 1325 Allison Street, where do you start? We sit down for business planning with my mom, brother, dad, sister, and I. We're all talking about the next steps for our business. Our plan all along from December 20th was to list the property on March 20th.
We all agreed as a majority that the value of the home had reached its peak in that neighborhood.
We are going to sell Allison. We're going to buy this house, and we're going to redo Larry's office. And to make that financing work, we needed to do all that in a row.
I was supposed to be retired, mind you, Greg. This was me being retired. I work harder now than ever. Allison was going to be the fuel for these deals, and that was going to be where we were going to get the money to pay for this stuff. Our plan was to list the property. We wanted to time it out so that our list date was going to be March 20th. And this was critically important. The sale of this house, I can't even stress how much this mattered. I mean, this was all of the money to pay for all of this stuff that we had to go do, and all of the money was coming from this house. We started work on the landscaping. We started cleaning everything up. We had our contractor in to do some painting on the walls, to remove a wall, to do a bunch of fixes. We did a whole number of things. We got the place staged. That's one of the big things. We cleared out all of our furniture. We put everything in storage. We paid for storage, which is not cheap every month. And we had it staged. So we're going along. We're getting everything ready to go. It's March 1st.
It's a new type of coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
COVID, we thought it was just a flu thing.
I did start to feel the climate changing. I never imagined it would become as bad as it would.
I remember calling my mom and my brother and going, we need to move and we need to go. We need to get this on the market now.
Got it on the market. It was smoking hot market. There were like showing every hour.
Every time with a house that you just listed on the market, you're gonna have an open house that first weekend. This is a neighborhood where in February, in a very hot real estate market, we were getting 60, 70, 80 people at an open house on a Sunday.
Overnight, the first case of coronavirus discovered in the nation's capital.
Three people came through the door, and one was the next door neighbor.
I mean, one day there were 50 people, 50 sets of humans going through the house, loving it. We're going to sell it, wham, bam.
We're going to get 3 offers.
As offers, and then 0.
That was not a fun experience. And then
today I want to announce that I am declaring both a state of emergency and a public health emergency in Washington, D.C.
7 days later, we're in this, world-changing, life-changing, economic-changing event.
I've been through the Vietnam War. I've been through a lot of fearful events. This was just
for all of us,
ongoing fear on steroids, because
nobody
knew about it. How do you get rid of it? How do you get infected? It was like, oh no, head for the basement.
I've never seen anything like it.
Never.
I remember calling my mom and my brother.
When he told me, I was almost stunned, speechless, like, take it off. He's like, Mom, there are no showings. We've gone from, every hour scheduled to where it's just dropped off. And I think it took me a day or two before I kind of really started looking for myself. And then I realized that he was right. There was no point.
And we decided to take it off the market.
So this is where things got complicated. Allison Street is now off the market, meaning that there is no more money for construction projects. We had just bought my wife and I's new house, so we have even more debt to pay, and we can't work because of the lockdowns. Since my house needed a total gut renovation, Allison Street still needed to be sold, and money is getting tighter and tighter by the day. My wife and I have one option: move into my father-in-law's basement.
So we go into the lockdowns, and I wasn't sure at that point if we'd ever make money again. I wasn't sure if we'd ever return to work.
I was very, very stressed out and not a very happy person.
So I vividly remember this is the PPP website. The website just didn't work at first. I remember when they launched it, you couldn't even get it to load. But I figured out that if I stayed up until 3 a.m, East Coast time, that the website would at least work somewhat.
But he would stay up, he would sleep on the couch, staying up till 3 a.m, so the rest of us could get unemployment. He was a savior for that. And
trying to do anything I can to make sure that we could survive. So I always kept going back to what was going on with Allison, what was going on with the money, how we were going to survive, how we were going to pay for things.
Do it safely. Tomorrow, we will release a checklist, a reopen checklist, primarily for businesses to understand what they need to do for their business, their employees, and their customers.
Started to feel like things were starting to get normal again, and people were starting to feel safer, a little safer, and the mask thing helped. And we decide that it's probably a good time to relist the house. So this is May 13th. It's on the market. We're getting some really good traction.
This morning, alarming spikes of COVID-19 cases.
We're seeing right now
is something obviously that's disturbing.
14 states seeing an uptick of more than 25%, all within the last week.
We were basically back on lockdown. Lockdown started happening again. There were some renewed fears about coronavirus with a lot of the gatherings, and we went back to zero. Again, no showings. Honestly, at this point, I remember having a conversation with my mom where
it was basically, how do we survive? We didn't want to rent it because then we'd be tied in. So we looked at the money.
We were literally talking, you know what, we're going to scrap everything. Everything's done. We're going to kill everything. And we are going to hold this house for a full calendar year. And we were trying to figure out where we would get the money for the taxes and the insurance and how it was going to affect our overall cash flow as a business.
And we knew we could survive for like 6 months and make the payments and be okay. All the rest couldn't progress.
So that's where we had to have the very difficult conversation of having, doing a real price reduction, and we ended up dropping the price.
Hello, Larry Gibbons.
I remember I called my brother, and I was trying to contain my excitement because I didn't want to get him and my mom excited, but I thought that we had a good lead with an agent who had called me. And so the contract date was June 19th, 2020. We're under contract. And so you'd think that it was over at this point, but real estate deals don't end when you're going to go under contract. They kind of just start.
So after going under contract, we had to go through a home inspection. We had to negotiate any repairs that the buyers wanted. Then we had to do a final walkthrough to make sure everything was in order. And then we had to coordinate all of this for settlement.
Finally, we were able to sell the house.
He too was so relieved, so relieved, because he had been so stressed out about it. Because we put it on the market literally the weekend of everything shut down for COVID. So
grateful it's all over, and we're actually taking a breather. We're trying to, but that's when we always find a bargain. As soon as I say that, we'll find a bargain.
I always knew the house would sell. I had no doubts.
He knew he didn't.
I mean, it's the most true thing. This guy, I love my brother.
Christmas dinner is nice. Father's Day is nice. But selling a house is priceless.
We get to our business planning ended up working out. My God, did it not go the way we drew it up.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. You just have to stay the course, and that's real estate. Just when you think you've timed it out perfectly, something out of left field blindsides you and you have to adapt.